There we go. That should be better. Got to turn the old phantom power on. Okay. Hopefully quickish one today. I'm going to drop a link on Twitter. I know I've said quick one before, but my solder wick came in, so I'm just going to try cleaning up this cart and getting it working again. And hopefully, there's a baby here. I am watching the baby. So I love the baby more than anybody watching this stream. So if he starts crying, I'm sorry. He's the guy. Okie dokie. I have tweeted. The baby seems pacified. I have my solder wick. So let's do some cleaning. Is my soldering iron plugged in? No, it is not plugged in. Because that would be too easy. Where is this wire actually going? It's going all the way back here. I'll have you know, it seems like I'm not prepared. That's because I'm not. But on the flip side, like I literally got off work and then moved, 3 inches to the right and started streaming. So in light of that, not bad. Evening. I don't know what time it is for you, Verworm. But good to see you. So again, just gonna try cleaning up this chip from last time and get the old cart actually working again now that I have solder wick in. Let me pop out chat. And the baby has the hiccups. I don't know if anybody can hear that, but it is adorable. $11 p.m. Dang. Okay. Well then, I will try not to keep you up too late. Let's get this thing out of the way. Let's go, I don't know. Sure, that angle works. Unplug this temporarily. So, for anybody who missed last time but has seen some of the other ones, last time I streamed, I actually managed to, without any of the proper equipment, which is totally my style, get the original program chip. This guy who's all bumped up now popped up and put into a socket, which is why it's all bumped up. The socket looks okay, but I think there is solder all over the legs of this chip from the absolute garbage way that I took it out. So I have solder wick now, and I'm just going to clean up those legs really quick. I already ran a multimeter over some of the legs really quick, and yeah, they're not making good contact, so that is almost certainly why this thing is not working. But there's still tons of gross flux and stuff all over this, so I'm going to clean that up as well, and then I anticipate this thing to work just fine, and then we can actually put an EPROM in. EPROM. It is, I'm going to electronically reprogram it, so it is in fact an EPROM. No idea if I'm actually going to get there today, like I said. Just had the stuff in, and I felt like the last one was a little disappointing in terms of not having anything to clean the chips up. I could have at least gotten the cart working again last time had I had the solder wick, but well, that's why I'm doing this today real fast. Wow, look, that camera's actually in a pretty good position this time. All right, soldering iron is hot. Let's unlump these pins. Again, another spot where, like, if I had a pair of helping hands, boy, would that just be an absolute helping hand. But I have to get creative. Legitimately used to have a pair of helping hands, but I have no idea what happened to it. And also, I'm kind of trying to do this in a way that doesn't block the view too much. Not that I care that much, but, you know, I could at least be marginally not ruining your view. Well, let's just try using this thing. The venerable toenail clipper. That might do something. Okay. And now we just heat and lift the solder away. Hopefully. And again, this chip could totally be heat damaged. I don't know. But we have to try. We have to try. Cool, that's kind of working. Just take my word for it. There is definitely, you know, silver stuff showing up on the copper stuff, so that seems good. Yeah, this is going to be an improvement. Because mostly these legs, just some of them have fat globs of solder on them, so they only go into the socket so far. And then this is not working. And then the pins that are not all globbed up do not make contact. So we don't want that. But this is also incredibly finicky. Yeah, remember that thing that I said about, you know, trying not to obstruct your view? That is already over. If I could just... Ooh, I have a pair of pliers here. What if I... Yeah! Now that is thinking. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a good evening. I don't know what else to say as I run the solder wick along this chip. Because it's not all that interesting. But it is meditative, so meditate with me, won't you? As I unbreak a chip that I broke the other day. So that we may actually make some progress on this project. Which, believe it or not, we have made progress. This is progress. We have a chip socket here in this cart. And that is... I mean, that means a lot. Hopefully we'll be able to get into, like, some actual, like, software pretty soon. As soon as I can get that EEPROM in the socket, actually mapping to a place where the NES will boot it and start running code off of that chip. Doesn't need to be fancy. Doesn't need to have total control and mastery of the mapper. I just need a little bit of memory in there to get started writing stuff. And then we can move to doing more code-oriented stuff, which, frankly, I think is more interesting to watch. And also I'm better at it. For that is my day job. But for now, we just have to do this slow part first, where you have to watch me desolder solder from the sides of a chip. And not be able to see it very well. So God bless you for joining me on that journey. Okay, I almost have this whole side cleaned up. And I also have, I have like alcohol and Q-tips over here that I could have used the other day to clean up some of that flux and then just kind of didn't. Because, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so that looks pretty good on the outside. How about the inside? Inside looks pretty good too, honestly. Yeah, I'm okay with that. The baby is okay with that as well. Ooh, maybe he's not. Maybe he's asking me to be more thorough. He is embarrassed of his father. Which, I don't blame him, you know? I think that's a good sign. That's a sign that you're a good father, is, you know, your kid should be somewhat embarrassed of you. How you doing, Bucky? You got pickups over there? Are you going to grow up to be an electronics engineer? Because you will think your papa is so cool. He's smiling at me, so yeah, totally. We got a burgeoning electronics engineer over here at 3 months. He knows exactly what he wants to do. Okay. Yeah, this side is the more globby side. So I think this will have the most effect at getting it back into the socket properly. Then there's not really much that I need to wick off the board itself. There's just some leftover globs of chip quick that I guess I should deal with, but probably aren't a big deal. The bigger deal is just that these legs were not going back into the socket all the way. To be expected. And so I will pretty much do this. Oy. Get back in there. I'll pretty much do this, and I don't know, just shove it. Maybe take a little alcohol to that board first, just because flux does imparts a bunch of parasitic capacitance, I believe. So you do want to clean that up. But I don't think that would totally mess things up so as to make it just not at all even look like it's booting. I don't think that would be the case. But regardless, I will give it a quick spit shine. And if things don't work after that, I will start taking the multimeter to it and making sure that all of the legs are actually making proper contact. I probably could have just gotten a working cart with a lot of shoving. I'm trying not to do any... I'm not trying not to do too much off-camera playing with stuff. Like, because pretty much my idea here is just to take my hobby time and just stream it, you know? Like, it's probably kind of a silly way to go, but I don't really want to, like, solve things off camera. Because, I don't know, I'm sharing the raw experience. There's nothing really dogmatic about it. I don't know. It's just the way I felt like doing it. And so that's the way I'm doing it. But anyway, yeah, I mean, just like doing some shoving and jiggling, got some of the pins that weren't making great contact, making better contact, but not enough to make the whole cart work. So I probably could have just made it work that way, but whatever. This is also fun. Okay, so there's that. I will alcohol that in a second. There's also a bunch of solder. Yeah, things are way too bright. I should probably adjust the exposure on that thing, but you can kind of see over here. There's some solder on the cartridge fingers, which I'm sure doesn't help things. That's the main thing I want to get off. And then the rest is mostly just flux goop that I will get off with some alcohol. Whee. Yeah, you ever try soldering with a microphone in front of your face before? It's different. I don't know that I'd recommend it. I know it looks real cool, and so it's probably surprising to hear me say that I wouldn't recommend it. But really, wouldn't recommend it. Oh no, baby's getting sad. I may have to take a quick break after I get this stuff off and give him a shake. In a healthy, moderate way. Don't you look at me and think I'm a baby shaker. I am not a baby shaker. I'm just a gentle baby gyrator. Yeah, I'm sure this doesn't matter. Oh, he's so sleepy. Quick pull. Who gives a damn about my baby? The child is escaping. He is not nearly old enough to be accomplishing any of that. Oh, I'm mostly sorry for you guys. The funny thing is my sister-in-law actually is here to help us look after the kid for a couple weeks because my wife is back working for a couple weeks. And then she's going to quit. And then we have to figure out our health insurance situation because we get health insurance off of her. But anyway, I think she's doing an interview right now. So now, mind you, I fully knowing this chose this time to stream, so this is on me. But the poor child, he seems to have calmed some, or not. So sorry to anybody who really is not a fan of babies, because this is what's happening right now. Okay, that's good enough. I didn't get it all off, but it's not doesn't have solder lumps all over it anymore. Now they're just kind of vaguely silvery, which is acceptable to me. Okay, allow me to shake the baby, and then get some alcohol going on in here. Maybe I'll mute and pop out. Well, you know what? Let me shake the baby and mute some chat. And I will try and keep the baby strategically off screen because I don't want to be Instagram dad guy. Yeah, let's what's the least baby exposing angle? There we go. Okay, reading the chats because because Tom is on here. Very nice. I did not notice that was you saying the baby is escaping, Tom. Hiccups are absolute torture. Tiny hand. Oh, was he like getting his hand up into frame? Amazing. Give him some solder to play with. No, thank you, Tom. I'm good. Hope this area is well ventilated. Well, I mean, it's a big old basement. Hopefully it's good enough. It's good enough for me. The thing is, actually, solder vapors aren't particularly bad for you, but solder solids of leaded solder on your hands and getting into like your food and stuff, that's the thing that's bad. So not that lead is good for children in any way, but solder fumes are actually not the bad part. Yes, pro clamping jig. Rubber bands would have been a great idea, actually. I was thinking about how to hold that as I was doing it, and that seems very obvious, but I don't think of the obvious things. Oh, ceramic tweezers with solder wick actually sounds like a great idea. I just kind of let my fingers burn. So, yeah. Yeah, buddy. Let me keep my solder hands off of you. Hopefully that was enough. Hopefully that will pacify him for the next, I don't know, as I alcohol. Okie doke. Woo! So we have cleaned the pins on the chip, hopefully good enough. We have gotten some solder off of the board. I just have to clean the flux, and then we'll just pop the cartridge back into the NES and see if it still works. We will see. Again, my hopes are high. I keep saying I'm worrying about having overheated the thing, but I don't know. Realistically, in my experience, like, overheating stuff is surprisingly hard. Okay, I might have to solder wick this. Oh, poor baby child. One moment. Let me see if he wants the butt end of some milk. Or do you just want attention? Either is fine. Or do you want to get up to the bench so you can see what I'm doing so that you can learn? Or do you just miss your auntie because you love her much more than your papa? Oh, is that what it is? Oh, poor buddy. Poor buddy. Oh. Hmm. I think I might just have to put up with him for a little bit. Well, really, he's putting up with me. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we might take a quick break to see what Auntie's doing. Good streams, guys. Good content. Crying babies. I'm a pro. Oh. But yeah, I thought this was just Flux Scoop, but it's not really just coming off with alcohol, so I guess I'll try solder wicking it and continuing to burn my fingers. That's pretty good. Burning a 74HC245. Yeah, I've always been worried about having overheated chips, but it has yet to actually happen to me. So I don't know if I'm just preternaturally lucky or I don't know. I don't have any answers. Yeah, it's like half melted solder ball goo on here. Here, watch me multitask. I shall shake the baby as I solder wick. Excellent parenting. Oh, is it dual wielding solder wick and a baby? You know, we actually own a baby rocker butt. They make them. It's just not conveniently down here. Oh, Bubby. Okay, I think... Quick break, and I will pop back in... Like, realistically, let me take care of this baby, and I'll be back in, like, 15. That's going to be really annoying because I just leave these videos up on YouTube. I don't edit them at all. But I also don't care about being that professional, so that's a toss-up. But give me a few, and I will be right back. And continue cleaning up this thing. Oh boy, how do I mute stuff? How do I mute stuff on here? I don't know how to use OBS. Oh no. Poor guy. Oh yeah, I think Auntie might be done. Oh, she's coming.
Where is he?
Right here.
Hey, what's happening?
Papa is too busy streaming to pay him attention.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Come on.
Your timing is impeccable.
Okay, come on.
Okay. Solved. All my responsibilities are gone. Such as dealing with my loved ones. You muted with a pacifier. Touche. Touche. Yeah, there's also just a bunch of schmutz on this board, because why wouldn't there be? But I bet this will go much better now with two hands. I have a good feeling about that. Just unplug the mic is actually not the dumbest idea, because I'm going through a little Porta Studio recorder thing, and I could just mute the channel. The obvious does not occur to me. You should all know that. Such as putting rubber bands on the pliers. But yeah, legitimately, I don't think what I'm doing right now is strictly necessary. I think it's mostly just the crappy globbed up pins. But, you know, if I went to the trouble of buying some new solder wick, then I might as well go to the trouble of using it. Okay, that back looks cleanish. As good as I'm going to get it. And then there is a bit on the front. Mainly there's a bunch around the CIC chip that I really didn't clean up at all. So do that real quick. I guess I could clean out the CIC chip leg holes as well, so that like I could put it back someday if I want to. I don't know if that's insane, you know, having this cartridge fully working. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to leave myself the option. And then we shall call it. Man, and when solder wick works, it's just a beautiful thing. I don't know, there's something mesmerizing about it. Like nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, and then just it just sucks up all the solder. And you didn't think it was going to work at all. It definitely works better than a solder sucker. Not like an actual like solder gun, or desoldering gun, which I should really buy. It's on the list of things. I don't know. They're kind of expensive is the thing. Like, especially compared to a soldering iron. Like, this is, what, like $100, $150 soldering iron? And, like, half-decent desoldering guns run, like, $300. And I don't use the right tools anyway, so. But I should. I should get a desoldering gun. It would make my life so much easier. Okay, so that's somewhat cleaned up. Let's try a little more alcohol. Get it shiny. I'm also kind of glad that I won't be poisoning my kid now, so that is good, I suppose. Wow, look at how clean that is. You can't really see, and I'm not even going to try and show you because I already know the camera quality is so garbage. You won't be able to tell. But just trust me, it looks pretty good. Okay. Now is it just flux residue back here? I don't know. It's super crusty. It's very gross. Just don't look at it. Do not ever open this cartridge again. Don't worry about it. And also there's like cat hair stuck to it and stuff. Because that is the way I live. But as long as it plays Mario, we're happy. But with my track record, I will probably get it looking all good. Make sure all of the connections are connected. Make sure I actually have continuity between the legs of the IC and the board, and it still won't work. So, but like, I think this is it. I think we jam this in. I think we get the NES. I think we turn the power on and we see what happens. And we just ignore the cat hair. We just ignore it. Okay. Felt pretty good going in. The legs are actually up to their shoulders. Except kind of in the back here. Let's just press that out aggressively. Okay. Still sticky. I don't really know why. The alcohol is not doing anything to take off this sticky residue on the back, which I would have thought was just flux. But the alcohol is not taking it off, and I'm just not going to think too hard about it, because that's not part of the mission. I have suddenly turned my NES into an N64. Not my intention, but, you know, might be cool. Okay, let's plug in the old Vidger. And plug in the old power. And make sure, since my power delivery is never actually set up properly, that it turns on. It does. Amazing. Okay. Let us go to the game display. And let's start with, I don't know, let's jam Metroid in there. Just to make sure the thing is still roughly working. And that it does anything. And I don't know if it's just my capture card being weird, because it was being very weird earlier. Let's try another card. My Metroid is traditionally flaky. Let's try the Duck Hunt, which is out of its case, but it was working earlier anyway, so when you weren't looking. Yeah, my capture card's being dumb. It is being dumb. Let us unplug it and replug it. Because, of course, I only buy the Amazon, you know, $15 special. Because that's the way to go. Let me just reconfigure this video source. And I think everything is plugged in. Because it would be really funny if it wasn't. Yeah, there we go. It just, if you leave it plugged in for more than a minute, it decides it hates you. All right. Let's see. Moment of truth. Nope. Still garbage. Still garbage. Unfortunate. Okay, so here comes the part where I slowly, painfully check all of the pins to make sure they are actually making good contact. And I can go back to cleaning the cart and all of that good stuff. But yeah, let's just start by making sure all the pins are actually making a connection to the board. And today we will be using a hardware store analog multimeter, because that's what I have, judge me. Alrighty. I mean, it works. I should really like buy a nice fluke scope that like beeps and stuff. But what do you take me for? Prepared? Yeah, that lighting is horrible. But I need to see this more than you do, so just believe me. Ooh, you know what? These pliers, they are doing major duty today. Just checking to see if I have any bridges on the fingers. Which doesn't look like. I think I'm good. Okay, yes. This will work somehow, I think. Maybe. Assist me in further breaking the cart. That one's good. That one's great. That one's good. 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 That one, good. This one, good. This one, good. And also I may have blown everything up by putting the cartridge in backwards last time, so eh. Which again, I've never blown up a chip by putting it in backwards. Like by reversing ground and power. Never happened to me. They seem to be resilient. But this is an older chip, so I don't know. It is possible. Okay, that one's kind of marginal. I don't know if I'm also, you know, pressing on the legs a little bit, which is making better contact just by dint of me poking on them. So I might just try jamming this thing back in if everything looks good, just in case that's the case. But that side of the chip looked fine. There's got to be a better way to deal with this mic. Just be over there. You're going to be a little quieter, but it'll be fine. It really likes me. How do I make you stay? Let's just jam you onto a soldering iron. There we go. That's fine. That's just fine. And of course I also need to kind of check to see if there's any continuity between the pins on the board, because that would be not great if that's the case. Okay, like this pin already doesn't look... No, maybe it was just covered in flux. That one's fine. 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 This one, I guess that's fine. I think I'm just having to poke through flux. Yeah. That one's fine. That one, fine. Where was I? This one? Yes. Fine. There's just Q-tip material between these two pins. I'm sure that's fine. That one is fine. That one is fine. I mean, it's plastic, so, like, it's not conductive. That one is fine. That one is fine. That one is fine. This one is fine. This one is fine. This one, the final one, is fine. So, like, the pins are making okay contact to the solder pads themselves, really. So that is not our issue. Again, issue might just be chip be dead. Fully possible. Issue might be continuity between pins, which I can check here in a second. But I don't really see anything obvious. Besides cat hair. But I don't think cat hair is terribly conductive. Not enough to cause us these problems. And again, maybe I just pushed some pins into better position as I was doing that, so might just, let's try again. And at some point I need to put this on a hotkey. Yeah, missing CIC, maybe. I might try jamming that back in a second. Everything I was reading, again, I'm trying not to do very much off camera. But I was reading a little bit because I kind of had that thought last time, just passing fleetingly. I was like, you think maybe that interacts with the mapper somehow? Because this is, I mean, it's hacked, so it shouldn't care about CIC chip being there or not. And actually, we tested it. It actively does not care. But that said, I don't know anything about NES stuff, so I don't know. Maybe on MMC3 boards, the CIC chip and the MMC3 mapper talk to each other in some weird way. I really doubt it, but... and I unplugged everything. That would be a problem. Yeah, I'm beginning to suspect dead chip. That I killed it. And looking at other chips, seeing if anything looks untoward. Not really. And I would think, like, as long as the program ROM is like semi-connected, or as long as the program ROM is connected, then like the character ROM being screwed up would just give you kind of funky graphics, but it wouldn't like stop the thing from doing stuff at startup. And there's also this this is work RAM, and if that was screwy, again, kind of same thing. Though if there's bridges, that could be screwing up things if they are on wires that are shared with pins on this IC. I guess I'll check. I doubt I'll find anything, but I'm going to check continuity between pins on this package really quick, just in case. But I'm starting to feel like if I keep doing this and I'm not getting much, then I may just jam in an EEPROM and see if I can execute code on the thing. Another option is also I could get my logic analyzer out and slap it on this chip and just see like what kind of bus activity we see. Maybe that could, like, if there were any pins that looked obviously like they weren't doing anything, excuse me, that might be useful. But yes, where did I put my multimeter? Over here. And I'm just going to go between. Okay, so immediately. Well, those might be connected internally because this is. Yeah, that's the ground pin. So there is probably many, like every single one of these probably has a diode to ground on it. Yeah. That's a bad pin to check against. Yeah, it looks like all of the data lines had a diode to ground. Or something. I'm not that much of an expert to tell you. Interesting. Let me pull up that diagram of this chip again. The pinout. Yeah, because these are also like address lines up here, and I'm seeing the same kind of. There is some resistance to ground, so that's interesting. Probably doesn't mean anything, but maybe it means something. Yeah, like A17, A18, A15, A12. Yeah, like A12 doesn't show any resistance to ground, but A17 sure does. So could it just be all of this kind of conductive goop all over the board? Maybe. I have acetone too, so I may try that in a minute. Yeah, because I'm kind of seeing, like, this is a data pin, and I am seeing resistance to all of these other pins just a little bit. So could be all the crap on this board is very conductive, and that may be screwing stuff up too. Oh, these are all +5. So yeah, those should have pretty low resistance to basically all of these pins. But, like, they're being... What am I on right now? So I'm set to R times 1. And so I'm at, like... You can't read it, but, like, 20 ohms. That is not a lot. And I'm not a super expert on the structures inside of an IC. So maybe that's normal, but that seems like a lot. You know what, actually, if I was a smart person, let's pop out this chip and do the same thing and see if I see similar stuff without the chip in here. Because if it is all of the goop all over here being quite conductive, then I should see a similar thing without the chip in there, right? Right. One would think. Lo and behold, I do. Yep, still about 20 ohms. And that is definitely enough to screw stuff up and pull levels all over the dang old place. So I need to clean this thing better. So let's try with the acetone and see if that has any better results. Never mind, I am out of acetone. Don't tell anyone. Gonna go raid the wife's nail thingy. I'll be right back. Old toothbrush. Actually, that's a good idea. I actually have a new toothbrush that I just got in the pack of stuff that I never used from the dentist. So let's do that actually. BRB. Yeah, toothbrush is a way better idea. That way I won't get all that shitty fuzz all over everything. Thank you, Procrastinate. You are great, and I rate you an 8 out of 8. Oh, come on, that's just perfect. Like a charm. Yeah, cool. And then we will see if that... Also, perfect size for dipping in this bottle. Then we will see if that resistance really drops off. Hopefully it will. And then we'll stick it in and we'll watch it still not work, but, you know, we tried. And then I can move on to actually doing stuff with the EEPROM and trying to get some code on here. Which the annoying thing is pretty easy. Like I know 6502 assembly because I've used 6502s in a bunch of my personal projects and whatnot. But of course I don't know the NES very well, and might take me a minute to get the PPU to do anything, especially because I do not have control of the character ROM chip. You know, I have whatever's on there, and I don't know exactly how that's mapped by default, and yeah. So I guess if I just try filling up one of the planes with something, one of the tiled backgrounds, might be the fastest way to prove that we did something. I don't know. Because I could also just try strapping like some simple hardware on here. You know, just like a latch chip, and set it up so that I can write to it and we can see something. Could also be fun and might be faster to show that we are getting code running off of the chip. But I am going to have to learn how to program for an NES at some point in here, because that's kind of part of the deal. We'll just see. We'll just see. But yeah, this is working pretty good. This is working pretty great. Not sure how long it's going to take this IPA to dry. SMB Charom has ASCII characters at beginning, but NTSC also chops off top and bottom tile rows. That's fun and interesting. I don't think my multimeter has a proper continuity mode. I just use resistance. I always do. I know it's not correct. I know. But I am not correct. By my very nature. Okay. I think I'm getting somewhere. Still, it's very sticky. It is something about that chip quick. Something ain't right about that chip quick. I am sure it's right, you know, for it being chip quick. It's gummy. It's weird. I have dealt with flux many a time in my life, and it's still, this stuff is weird. Very thick. Okay. Not totally dried, but probably good enough for rock and roll. Let's see. I mean, this might just be the way it is. I don't know, there's not like pull-up resistors really on this board or anything, so... Yeah, there's a lot of continuity between... Or a lot of... a very low amount of resistance between these several pins here. Fascinating. And I don't know that that's necessarily my issue. I am probably on a wild goose hunt here. Chasing down the wrong thing. Chipquick it's good for... Oh yeah, this has all been NES Dev Wiki. That has been my North Star this whole project so far. Very good resource. Also, literally whenever you Google anything about NES anything, NES Dev is what comes up. Yeah, like it's sticky all over my fingers right now. And my fingers were also covered with alcohol. So, Well, anyway, let's see if that improved things. Probably not. Oh, let me do the chip, too. It's probably not a terrible idea. And you know what? Let's give this the fullest chance. Let me scrub off this chip and put it back in the socket. And let's also put the CIC chip back in, which I only took out the CIC chip to prove that my little switch for enabling and disabling the CIC check did anything. But we don't really need it. And if somehow that interoperates with the MMC or something, then who knows? I mean, somebody knows. I'm sure plenty of people know. I am just not one of them. But yeah, now that I have the solder wick and the brilliant clamping an IC in place technique in, that should be easy-ish. Also, who knows? All of these chips being all covered with gunk from removing from solder wicking them. Also probably wouldn't help. Gotcha. But I don't know. Like, I expect something of this vintage to be slightly more forgiving than like some flux on the board making it just not work at all and not do anything. Okay, so let's slam this in here. Just kind of pretend there isn't any alcohol in here. Press it in violently. Put it back in the cart. Or in the NES. Give it some power. My wife would never let me use the dishwasher for such a purpose ever in a million years. She lets me get away with a lot. She is very nice, but that is not an option. Okay. I need to make a hotkey for game input, but I have not. Whoops. Oh, well, that's different. Uh-huh. I don't know if that's just because I am kind of holding the thing in to the cartridge slot by hand, or if it's actually doing something. Yeah, like that's got to be something. I mean, come on. Come on. I guess let's just keep clean. Oh, shit. I have to hold it just right. Actually, my finger is on one of the pins. I think I'm pressing it in. Ah. I think I just happened to press the exact right pin. Heck yeah, man. Okay, we got our working cart broken and working again. Kind of. Yeah, bro. Alright, that only took us how long? Okay, we've been streaming for an hour. And this is what, episode... Is this episode 3? I think I titled it episode 3, but the last episode might have also been episode 3. This is probably actually episode 4. Whoops. Okay. So, we know this socket thingy works. Neat. I could still clean that better. My fingers are sticky AF, but yeah, I'm gonna call it. I got the solder wick in, and I wanted to just get this card back in working order again, and I mean, it's good enough for rock and roll. When I get it just right. It's real dodgy, but clearly it works good enough. I might clean it up a little bit more. Maybe see if I can find some acetone to get some more of this sticky bullshit off. But that's really all I wanted to do. Is I got the solder wick in, clean it up, get it working. Cool. All right, so I will... the rare LSD version of the game. Correct. So yeah, I said I wanted to do this one short, and I'm actually going to stick to my word this time around, because boy, I haven't before. And I know that's not super exciting, but at least that means now we have a card with a socketed chip that I can pop in and out. I wish I could get it back in a cartridge shell, because it would make... I wouldn't have to like angle the thing just right in the cartridge slot to make it, you know, work. But it is what it is. But anyway, now I can hopefully just slap an EEPROM in there and start writing some programs on this thing, and that would be super dope. So yeah, let's do that next time. I'm gonna go be a dad. Yeah, good call. Thank you. See you guys. Have a good time. I'll probably see you on the weekend.